This is TWiT.
Here's an interesting article that got a lot of people sent to me from a site called housefresh.com. This is a website, like many websites, that specializes in reviews, in this case, of air purifiers. The article, though, is interesting, how Google is killing independent sites like ours. And I would say it
ain't Google.
It's not Google. I would say it's companies creating, now with the aid of AI, artificial content. And that's, to follow on with what you're saying, Molly, that's really, we are in the midst of getting flooded. We got flooded with spam. We came up with some ways to deal with it, but spam never went away. That was a drip from the faucet compared to the tsunami, the flood of garbage information that is going to start to persist on the internet.
Leo, I talked to somebody.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I talked to somebody who was at one of those companies that used AI and was known for it. I won't say who. And they said, you don't understand, Jeff. We're in a war over reviews, which is triply ridiculous, because I would think that a review of all things would be a human opinion. But it's
apparently not.
This junk. It's this junk.
Giselle Navarro.
Get the SEO.
It's all
about
SEO.
Air purifiers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giselle Navarro and Danny Ashton from housefresh.com provide a bunch of examples. They say big media publishers are inundating the web with subpar product recommendations you can't trust.
Google hates it too. Google doesn't want this junk. They want to have decent search results.
Well, in fact,
they don't know what to do.
What they talk about is how Google, realizing there was a lot of, kind of phony, we tested 83 air purifiers and here's the best, set up some standards for this. Like you have to mention a lab, you have to mention the products, you have to show pictures of the testing and so forth. So the problem is immediately these phony sites, they're not phony sites, they're Better House and Gardens, they're well-known sites, just said, okay, fine, and they filled it up with that kind of content, and Google said, oh, okay, I guess it's real.
It's just like About.com. It's the same exact story.
Yes.
Is that About did wonderful work. It was really good. And then the content farms ruined it for everybody. Same thing with BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed had really fun viral stuff. Then others learned the same trick. There was no barrier to entry. And then they ruined it for everybody, including BuzzFeed, who today had to sell half their business.
They mentioned BuzzFeed in this article. So here is the example with Better Homes and Gardens. Better Homes and Gardens never mentioned conducting tests prior to the Google product review update July of 2022. You can see clearly, and they have the screen captures. Always do the screen captures, kids. On July 6th, there were no mentions of air purifiers being tested. By July 26th, the day before the announcement of the Google update, they say, oh, yeah, we tested 38. And then with photos, which all are credited to somebody named Harry Wartalk on multiple sites. It turns out these are all sites run by your favorite Meredith, Jeff. And Meredith.
Dot dash
Meredith, they call him.
Now the owner of what's left of Time Inc. and what's left of Meredith.
So Dot Meredith hired a guy.
Which is, by the way, which is also the successor company to About.com. It goes full circle.
It goes full circle. They hired this guy, Harry, to take these pictures, and it appears, look at all the places it appears. Health, People, Better Homes and Gardens, The Spruce Pets, Real Simple. These are all basically websites pretending they did the testing, but they have the tests are all from the same place with the same people.
Wow.
Here's Real Simple. Here's People Magazine. Look at the matching. With all credited to Harry Wartalk.
Well, Real Simple and People are in the same company. The other thing,
it's all Meredith.
I'm guessing this is not advertising. This is all affiliate revenue.
Yeah, and incidentally, housefresh.com, same thing. They say, but we actually test. But they say at the very top, it's affiliate. The way we pay for this is affiliate revenue.
I wonder what's happened to the New York Times site, to Wirecutter.
Wirecutter,
yeah. Okay, I think there is a point that there is considerable pressure on these companies, especially since it's private equity companies that have bought up these companies and now need to pay off this huge debt they incurred to buy these companies. But there's pressure to generate income.
And they're ruining the web and the internet for all of us.
There's a lot of crap.
And it's going to get worse. And so that's what people talking about AI was going to ruin Google and chatbots. I don't think that's the issue. I think that the issue is the web is getting ruined and Google gets blamed for it. Hey, Google searches aren't as good as they used to be. That's because of this junk. So what happens to be able to change that? I don't know.
In 2020, Popular Science was sold to a private equity firm, North Equity LLC. This is also from the House Fresh article. A year later, they introduced a new arm of their business that runs all the media brands they acquired, and they stopped printing a magazine. They started putting up websites with phony reviews.
See that same thing, right?
Yeah. Now, the problem is, and I think this is legitimate from House Fresh, this is a legitimate complaint. I think they're wrong saying Google's the problem, but it is hurting sites that actually do testing. They're independent sites. They just don't show up. They don't have the Google foo that Real Simple and People Magazine and Better Homes and Gardens and Popular Science have. So they're not going to show up.
People click on those brands.
Yeah.
And that's a signal to Google. Oh, it must be okay. They clicked on it.
Is that how Google's... So if you search for best air purifier for pet hair, you're going to find all of those sites, but you're not going to find housefresh.com.
What do we find? Let's look for it.
Let me see. What first comes up? First is a sponsored thing, but the first organic one is Better Homes and Gardens.
There you go. One of the...
Then Real Simple, Spruce Pets,
Meredith,
Reddit.
Meredith. Reddit, good. Well, that's good. BuzzFeed.
No, I read the article, though. They talk about how Reddit's getting brought into this, too, because now people are spamming reviews and things like that on Reddit.
Sure. I've noticed that on Reddit. It's terrible. You can really tell, too.
Certainly.
When somebody goes in
Popular
there.
Science in the list. Yep.
It's very sad.
It is. It's our web, and they're messing it up. Well, but there's business opportunities here. There's finding new ways to do things.
I mean, what is Google's responsibility?
Which are?
How does Google solve this? Can they?
I mean, it's less a Google problem and more media. I mean, Jeff can talk about this much more eloquent, wrote a whole book about this. But, that media have for a long time relied on advertising revenue, and that the bottom has not only fallen out of that, but it is crumbled away. And so all of these companies are searching for something to fill that gap.
We should have, Matt Cutts for a long time was at Google. He's been on the show many times, in charge of fighting spam, fighting, click farms and things like that. I'm sure there are people at Google, maybe Danny Sullivan's doing it. I don't know. There's still people at Google who are doing that. But it's got to be hard with a tsunami of crap. Low effort,
very hard
clickbait articles.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
But I think that's the... I'm going to do my other book. Thank you for the plug there, Paris. In Magazine, I talk about...
Listen, we got to get the trifecta, guys.
I got him here. I'll have galleys the next one soon.
Jeff Jarvis seeks $7 trillion in royalties.
Just 7 copies, people. Can you buy 7 copies? It'll make me look good. When media exploded with mechanization and industrialization in the mid-19th century, Harper's was invented to solve this. Harper said, there's all this new stuff out there. We got to find the good stuff for you. And I think that there'll be ways that people will be verified as actual product testers. And there'll be ways that somebody will go out there and do the work to say, the new Consumer Reports should do this. Consumer Reports would say, we test it and we know those who actually do. And we'll certify the certifiers. That'd be an opportunity for them.
Molly, I think this is a business opportunity.
If you just scan your eyeball.
Yeah.
It's true. I think if we scanned our eyeballs, this would all
go away. Hey, it's Leo Laporte. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet from our show This Week in Google. For the full show, you can either go to our website, twit.tv/twig, or find Twig in your favorite podcast client. And, of course, there's links right below, somewhere down there, for more information.